What I'm telling you is that any of us employed by anyone cannot go on social media and say negative thing about our boss's religion.
On today's Wind Up Wednesday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis recap the NBA week in review, discuss the Kyrie Irving and Brooklyn Nets, share their thoughts on Gonzaga's potential move to the Big 12, as well as previewing featured upcoming week in NBA. Welcome to today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA SAVE Project. The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA SAVE Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, don't ask why I'm going back to that one, but it's just kind of what's on my mind, the Tiger Conway Jr. to my Pistol Pass / Shaska Watley in the Job Tones in Mid-Atlantic / JCP, Jim Crockett Promotion Championship Wrestling, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, man, we gonna pause in, but I hope you're well because the NBA has had a bad week in my eyes. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, and I apologize. I thought you said Jim Cornette.
No. I said the Job Tones, man. We're not gonna go there.
No, you said Jim Crockett.
Jim Crockett, yes.
I thought you said Jim Cornette.
JCP. We're going to let that one go. Fans that are wrestling can see my belts are now in the background. And I'm very excited about having something behind me. The lights are there. We're going to do this thing on a regular basis. So good to have you here. So the NBA Week in Review, it's been a busy week for the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm pausing. And Mike and I joke a lot on the show because we're comfortable with each other. And we have a lost episode that has to do with Deshaun Watson. And it's a lost episode not because we're scared to talk about Deshaun Watson. No, not because we're scared to talk about controversial comments. We're on such a level that the audience is not ready to have the kind of conversations that we have with ourselves and our educated and enlightful friends from all walks of life. So that's why we paused and said after the show, I don't know if you guys are ready, so we can't do this. And I have spent this week researching the Brooklyn Nets, talking to more people than I can imagine about the Brooklyn Nets. And we're going to not only break down the Nets, but we're also going to talk about other off-court legal problems that happened, wait for it, fans, this week in the NBA. So no, we're not going to talk about Luka and what he's doing scoring and all of the exciting basketball things. We're going to talk about what actually is going on in the league, and the league, y'all got a problem, and we're going to try to help you solve it. So on the court, the Nets fired Steve Nash. They replaced Steve Nash with Jacques Vaughn, who probably should have been a head coach already, by the way. And they may hire Ime Udoka, who, again, however you feel is however you feel. And they are currently mired in an underperforming season. So when the Nets hired Steve Nash years ago, we were on the air. So that's kind of a cool thing for us, Mike. And we said, this has nothing to do with Steve Nash, but I don't know if that's the dude you want to roll with this crew. Mike said it in his way, and I said it in my way. And now you got to deal with a bad hire. It's hard to get rid of a bad hire. They didn't say he was a bad person. The bad hire. So, Mike, any thoughts on the firing of Steve Nash, replacing him with Jacques Vaughn, and possibly replacing him with Ime Udoka? And that is the highest rated episode, quite frankly, we've ever had. Any thoughts, my friend?
I just don't. I'm confused. Jacques Vaughn should have had the job to begin with, if you ask me. But, he had the most experience. But you hired a guy who's never been a head coach. And then this is what happened. It was a mutual agreement, as they say. I understand.
Yeah, because Sean Marks is his boy, according to reports.
Yeah.
Like legit.
Yeah. So it was a mutual agreement. But then they, so.
All
And
right.
Ohio Doku, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to see.
Okay. And again, that's your fault as an organization. So now off the court, we're going to walk through the suspension, fans. We're going to walk through it, and we're going to keep it focused on data and keep it focused on actual quotes. So the Brooklyn Nets suspended Kyrie Irving for at least 5 games without pay because they were dismayed by his repeated failure to unequivocally say he had no anti-Semitic beliefs. Irvin refused to apologize several times throughout the week. In addition, it has been reported that Joe Tsai, the managing partner, owner of the Nets, reached out to him and he didn't hit him back. So your boss reached out, said, I need to talk to you. And, Kyrie didn't hit him back. Okay. So about 4 hours after the Nets announced his suspension, Kyrie issued an apology, which many, including Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, had wanted sooner. In addition, before the suspension, Kyrie Irving and the Nets announced they will each donate $500,000 in the wake of Irving's controversial, status. The donations will be to the Anti-Defamation League, and they released a joint statement. And even after releasing a joint statement, he was still suspended because he didn't apologize in the manner that they were looking for him to do. The team refused to give Irvin a contract extension at the end of the season, so he will be an unrestricted free agent. Nike jumped in, announced that it suspended its relationship with Kyrie Irving. And Nike said, and I quote, at Nike, we believe that there's no place for hate speech and we condemn any form of anti-Semitism. We're deeply saddened and disappointed by the situation and its impact on everyone. So to restore the circle, because we're both working in systems that believe in restorative justice. Okay. The Nets, according to media reports, have said, here's what Kyrie has to do to get back into the good graces of the Brooklyn Nets. Apologize and condemn the movie that he retweeted, as we spoke about last week. The $500,000 donation to an anti-hate cause. I don't know if it's an additional 500, but he did 500. He needs to go through, wait for it, Mike, sensitivity training. He needs to go to anti-Semitic training. He needs to meet with the Anti-Defamation League Jewish leaders, and he needs to meet with Joe Tsai to demonstrate an understanding of what happened. Mike, that was a lot to unpack. Gave you some new information, gave you some previous show notes. I'll let you digest it however you want to. You have the floor, my friend.
It's disappointing. I'm not going to say it's disappointing what he said, because he has a right to his own opinion. And I think that what gets lost, please, people hear me. People hear me. Black people hear me. You don't have to support every person because they Black. People can be wrong and be the same color as you. I think we have an issue with everyone saying, well, and everyone's answer that I talk to is, did he lie? Did he lie? No. I didn't ask you was what he's saying the truth. What I'm telling you is that any of us employed by anyone cannot go on social media and say negative thing about our boss's religion. That's all I'm saying. If it was me, if it was you, it was anybody else working a regular job, we would be fired. You can't do that. I'm not knocking his beliefs. He can believe whatever he wants. If he want to believe the world flat, hey, he believe the world flat. If he want to believe water ain't wet, hey, he believe water ain't wet. I don't care about none of that. What I am telling you is you're not setting a good example for our kids coming behind you. We all have that responsibility, no matter what our job is.
And I'm glad you said that.
You can't go on social media and trash your employees, your employers' religion and not expect. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequence.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sick and tired of everybody running to defend, him, Kanye West, all of them, just because they're Black. That don't make them right, man. If it was when the owner from the Clippers did what he did and said what he said, what happened?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happened?
He had to go.
Exactly.
He had to go.
So if we want to be fair and equal and we want to be treated as the same, we have to act the same, man. We have to. And we got to expect the same. We got to expect better.
And I'm really glad you mentioned that because fans, my doctorate's in organizational leadership, say it frequently. So I had a chance to talk to leaders in other organizations, executive directors, and all of them independently of each other mentioned the vision of the organization and the mission of the organization. And no matter who you are in the organization, if your beliefs are counter to the vision and the mission of the organization has the right to correct you, to train you, retrain you, or disassociate with you. So with that, I want to tell you what the NBA PA president said, because I had mentioned to you in private messages that I was saddened that I hadn't heard from the union. I kept asking Mike, when's the union going to say something? When the union's going to say something? Union. Because again, going through the process. So New Orleans Pelican guard CJ McCollum, who serves as the president of the NBA PA, finally said something. He made his first public statements. And he said, I think the important part was that he did apologize. He displayed empathy now. I think this is a learning experience in which I don't think he understood the magnitude of the movie because he didn't watch it. I don't think he understood the magnitude of the people that were affected, how they were impacted, and how fast hate can spread and how this can snowball. It's safe to say we know that Kyrie and all of us, me specifically, I can speak for myself, specifically condemn anti-Semitism in any form. I'm specifically against it. I specifically believe in promoting equality. So he went on to end what he said, and I do want your reaction. He said, I believe in social justice, not just for Black people, but for everyone. This is a social justice issue. This is a social justice situation that is continuing to be addressed. I think now we're headed into the direction of addressing it appropriately. Any thoughts on what CJ McCollum said before we move on?
We have to hold ourselves to the same standard we expect someone else to treat us. That's all I'm gonna say. Like we keep saying it, and we talk about these things that we're trying to push and where we're trying to go, but we can't continue to jump out like this because then it makes what we're trying to do. It defeats what we're trying to do and the progress we're trying to make, and it slows down our progress. Because you can't ask someone to treat you unstereotypical when you're treating people stereotypically. Does that make sense? And when you're making these videos, you didn't even watch the video, you just retweeted the video. Like
Bomani Jones said that Jones was like 3.5 hours long, and I can't imagine that he took 3.5 hours.
Yeah, Kyrie sat down for 3.5 hours to watch this so he can retweet about it. Like and then the apology, the non-apology apology, the multiple apology. He set up that. This is what it sounded like. It sounded like to me. It sounded like I had one of my 7th graders in my office who said something to another student, but is telling me, "Oh, I said it, but I ain't really said it." Or they shared a picture of a student, and then instead of saying I shared the picture, I apologize, they say I ain't take the picture, but I ain't take the picture.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't take the picture, so I shouldn't get in trouble. I ain't take the picture, but you shared the picture, but I ain't take the picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got from that whole apology. It was so middle schoolish.
Yes,
because that's what I mean. That's what we deal with every day.
Every day. Every day. Yes, we do. All right. So again, we're doing the NBA Week in Review, and that's what we started with. Firing Steve Nash when you shouldn't have hired him, and dealing with fallout from Kyrie. And now we're going to move on to the San Antonio Spurs, who are one of the most well-respected organizations historically in the league. But I am reminded that trust takes a lifetime to build and a second to lose. And Mike, this is not good. So police have begun investigating allegations that former San Antonio Spurs guard Joshua Primo exposed himself on multiple occasions to a former team therapist during counseling sessions. Dr. Hillary Coffin filed a lawsuit against the Spurs and Primo, claiming that the 19-year-old exposed his genitals to her 9 times during multiple sessions. These are media reports. In addition to the civil complaint that was filed, which includes San Antonio, a criminal complaint against Primo was filed as well. The sheriff's office told the Associated Press that it has made contact with the victim involved in the situation and called it a preliminary investigation. In her lawsuit, the team's former performance psychology said the Spurs did nothing to discipline Primo or address her concerns, despite numerous complaints about Primo's improper sexual conduct. Now, before you respond, Mike, Pop has spoke out. All right. So Pops said the Spurs have worked a long time to maintain a healthy work environment. He would add that anybody who observed the Spurs over a long period of time know that these accusations like this will be taken very seriously, without a doubt whatsoever. The Spurs would be on top of it. I am absolutely confident the men and women on the management staff will deal with this and will do so purposefully, etc. Okay. So, Mike, Pop's got a lot of grace in the bank, got a lot of chips. But man, Spurs as an organization doesn't look good right now. Any thoughts?
Well, I don't know if that was Popovich's idea not to discipline him or the owners. You can't blame Pop for that, number one. So let's take him out of the equation. But if the owners themselves, because the report don't go to the coach, I'm sure the report goes to the GM and the owners. All right. Mm-hmm. So if she reported that and then first of all, you should have stopped the sessions at that point. But then to put her back in that situation for it to happen again, then yeah, she got a lawsuit. And they should be forced to pay whatever it is she want to pay, because you can't put your employees or anybody in such a work environment that garners, any sexual misconduct.
Yeah. So the last thing in this weekend review is when it rains, it pours. So Charlotte Hornets restricted free agent Miles Bridges pleaded no contest to felony domestic violence charge in Los Angeles Superior Court and was sentenced 3 years probation, but no jail time as part of a deal with prosecutors. Okay. During his 3-year probation, Bridges, who is 24, will be required to complete 52 weeks of domestic violence counseling, 52 weeks of parenting classes, serve 100 hours of community service, undergo weekly narcotics testing with marijuana allowed only if there's a valid doctor prescription.
Whoa.
I'm giving you what it says. He cannot own any guns, any ammunitions, or any weapons. He will also have to pay a restitution fine of $300 with a restitution hearing scheduled January 13th and a domestic violence fine of $500 and obey the terms of a 10-year protective order, staying 100 yards away from and having no contact with the woman. Bridges and the woman maintain custody over their 2 children, and any visitation or exchange of children must be done peacefully and through a neutral third party.
Like the police station.
Like the police station, yes. So my question to you before you respond is, how did you put yourself in a position that to restore order, you have to go through all of that? Who we hanging with, man? What kind of advice are we getting? Any thoughts about Miles Bridges and the weekend review in the NBA?
That's a lot. And then for that to be ordered.
That's the legal system.
My God, what did he do?
The law don't care. Okay.
No,
I have
no.
been to court. I am a teacher for 30 years, have seen all of these things. And yeah, Mike, actually, that's about right in terms of the legal system. You
God
you
damn.
haven't sat in the admin meeting yet, but wait till you start to hear, hey, when this kid is disciplined, call this parent first, call that parent second.
Oh yeah, I've been
When the
there.
stuff comes home, it's
Yeah,
got to go to both address.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I've been
So
there.
what are we doing, Miles? We're just what are we doing?
I don't get it.
And then the drug testing and what are we doing? No ammunition. No. Wow, man.
But then they get me is he can only have marijuana in his system. Like that kind of counterproductive, if you ask me. But
Well,
then,
and with a
what
medical.
does he have? Anxiety disorder? Is that what it is? I'm just saying.
So with that, fans, before we close, hey,
We're gonna talk about basketball.
Adam Silver, we need to get like a summit or something. CJ McCullough, we gotta help because there should be better conversation about basketball, and we'll get to that segment 3. But folks, man, what are we
It's
doing?
crazy,
What are we doing
right?
between Brooklyn? And again, that's why I said the age. Primo's 19, collecting checks, and before he got suspended, the Spurs picked up his option, so he got income coming in. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I hope you do some financial classes while you out. But we'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA SAVE Project academic monitoring service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast as we share battle stories of teaching middle school. In segment 2, Mike, this is the first, man. Basketball is the driving factor in a potential conference realignment. Gonzaga's athletic director met in person with the Big 12 commissioner last week to talk about the Zags joining the Big 12 for basketball. So longtime fans of the show know that over 50% of the conferences has had movement. It's actually close to 60% over the last couple of years. And all of those moves have been based on football.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the first time basketball is the player. Big 12 commissioners Brett Yormick met with Gonzaga athletic director Chris Standiford in Frisco, Texas, while the Zags were in Dallas to play Tennessee in a scrimmage. I don't know why you're in Dallas playing Tennessee in a scrimmage, but whatever. The move backs up Yormick's promise of the Big 12 being aggressive and open for business, and it could end up shifting the landscape of college basketball. Sources indicate that Gonzaga has been exploring conference options as it emerged as one of the premier basketball programs in the country. Okay, Gonzaga plays in the West Coast Conference, and you have heard us say over the years on the show, which is again cool to say, that Gonzaga is going to play a good non-conference schedule. They're going to go play bums in the West Coast Conference. Yes. They're going to lose their edge, get the NCAA tournament, and at some point lose. Rinse, repeat. Okay, so they're tired of that. So they want to do something about it. So the Big 12 post the last 2 men's national championships. They have Kansas and Baylor, okay? And then Texas Tech made it to the finals as well. So if Gonzaga's in the Big 12, which I think would be a good move for Gonzaga, because the travel's not crazy. Um, you know, I think that might be a good move for him. And of course, Huggy Bear came in and said something. So West Virginia coach Bob Huggins, we love Huggy because he gave the best clinic conference ever when he had Kenyon Martin. Mike, he said at a conference, "All right, here's my play. You put Kenyon Martin on the right side of the court. You move those four other blankety blanks to the left side of the court, and you say Kenyon go. Any
Yeah.
questions?" That was the conference. Any questions? So anyway, I'm not drawing up any plays. You go score.
This is
So
coach's meeting.
he said that if Gonzaga moves to the Big 12, it's going to be a tremendous awakening for Gonzaga. That's the words he used. Mike, any thoughts about Gonzaga, the Big 12, or Bob Huggins' commentary on Kansas' potential move?
Nah, I mean it's smart. To me, it's a I hate saying business decision, but it is. It's just about the money. So
Yeah. And sorry if St. Mary's and the other three teams in the West Coast Conference that I can't remember don't move to meter. Yeah. I know St. Mary's is in the West Coast Conference because they do well. I don't know if Pepperdine or I don't know. So if I don't know them and I can tell you who's in the Big 12, move. So did the punishment fit the crime? Now, we talked about Penny Hardaway in Memphis over the last couple of weeks and what happened with him. Here's what happened with Kansas. Kansas basketball coach, and they're the defending national champions, right, sir?
yes, they are. They
Okay.
were under investigation while they was playing in the national tournament.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we were clear.
Yeah.
Kansas basketball coach Bill Self and assistant Curtis Townsend were suspended for the first 4 games of the season, and the Jayhawks imposed several recruiting restrictions as a part of fallout from the FBI investigation into college basketball corruption from 2017. They will miss the Jayhawks matchup against Duke in the Champions Classic. Assistant coach Norm Roberts will serve as the interim head coach. They will also miss games against Omaha, North Dakota State, and Southern Utah. And they will rejoin the team in time to play NC State in the Battle for Atlantis in the Bahamas.
That's 1 game and 3 scrimmages.
Okay. So let's break down the self-imposed penalties. Again, Bill Self and Curtis Townsend suspended for 4 games. Self and Townsend was barred from off-campus recruiting for 4 months from April to July, vacation. Reduction of 4 official recruiting visits. Reduction of 3 total scholarships in men's basketball to be distributed over the next 3 years. 6-week ban on recruiting communications. 6-week ban on unofficial visits, and no recruiting visits for late night at the Fog. Mike, any thoughts on their recruiting punishment?
I don't think
called vacation.
I don't think it is in the punishment because I mean they've already won the national championship, so he's going to get at least 1 class in anyway. If they reduce a scholarship each year for the next 3 years, that's not going to hurt them. Especially depending on what they got coming back in their roster like this year. So ain't like somebody's going to come in and break in the lineup right away, so it's not going to hurt them. Recruiting visits, they're not going to limit it so they can't go late night at Fog, but they can go around that. They don't have to be there for that. The national championship itself already does the recruiting. All you got to do is send them the email with the pictures.
Like yes, and the other assistants can do that and say, Coach Self sends his best.
Yeah. And then Coach Self is going to be, Coach Self's really thinking about you while his ass is on the beach in the Cayman. You know what I mean?
I'll meet you guys in the Bahamas.
Right.
Because you're coming anyway.
I'm going to go there 3 weeks early. Holla at me.
And here's the thing that I think they can do, because that's what Bill Self is as a coach. And again, this is nothing negative about Bill Self. It gives the assistants an opportunity to lead. And the assistants, as a former assistant, I worked for a head coach that granted me power. A lot of people, when I was at Hood College, sometimes forgot that they're like, hey, you're the Hood coach. No, Coach Dickman's the Hood coach. I'm just more visible. Well, heck, man, Tom got to spend more time with the players because myself and Tay Hill out on the road. So his commute's shorter. So these are the kind of things that they're like, okay, thanks for the vacation. Because I've got more members of the staff who are going to get experience, who's going to get a chance to do something. When I was at Paint Branch, I was allowed to lead because my bosses said, go do. And that helped everybody. So, all right, let's add Louisville to this. Mike, an independent panel. I love that. And I want to get hired by these independent panels. That's what I want.
How do we get to the job?
Give me that gig. All right. An independent panel has placed Louisville's men's basketball on 2 years probation, fined the program $5,000, but spared the school and former coaches Rick Pitino and Chris Mack major penalties from allegations leveled in the aftermath of the federal investigation in college basketball. So the Independent Resolution Panel, the IRP, announced that Louisville avoided a postseason ban and other significant sanctions in the infractions case that began with the 2017 investigation into corruption in college basketball. Louisville was also given a 2-week ban on unofficial visits and a public reprimand and censure. The panel concluded that the NCAA failed to show evidence that Adidas cited as an orchestrated scheme to funnel recruits there. Now, personal to me and personal to my tag team partner, former Louisville assistant coaches Kenny Johnson, who's a friend of ours, and Jordan Fair, who had been accused of the NCAA of arranging payments, were both given 2-year show cause penalties by the panel for level 1 violations. These penalties will limit their collective ability to work in college basketball during that period, although Johnson's show cause specifically pertains to his ability to recruit at live events during those 2 years. Johnson is now an assistant at Rhode Island on Archie Miller's staff, while Fair has recently coached on the AAU circuit. The violations did not involve Fair and Johnson were level 3 violations. So again, shout out to Kenny, man. I had a chance to see him, and we've had a chance to reconnect because I'm back out a little bit. Mike's always been out, but Kenny's a good dude, and we wish him well. Good luck to Rhode Island. But Mike, any thoughts on Louisville's punishment?
All I heard was they cleared Pitino. That was the article. The article says it clears Pitino. Everybody else got in trouble though. I don't understand it. And I mean, I understand some assistants. That's why you get paid, and understand you got to fall on the sword. You have to fall on the sword. But man,
all right,
you know,
punishment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So Mike, I'm gonna let you be a coach right now. Would you play him? Texas freshman Arterio Morris remains eligible to play while prosecutors decide whether to pursue a misdemeanor assault charge stemming from an alleged summer altercation the player had with an ex-girlfriend. Morris was not suspended after his June 2nd arrest, but Coach Chris Beard said that there has been no change in his status as the number 12 Longhorns prepare for the season. Morris was a top national recruit coming out of Dallas. The guard led Texas in scoring in an exhibition win over Arkansas. Arterio, to quote Chris Beard, continues to do what he's supposed to do on a day-to-day basis here. We're holding all of our players accountable for what they're supposed to be doing. But in terms of the situation, I can't comment. I've been asked not to comment. As soon as we know something, we'll let you guys know. Jamie Beck, the first assistant district attorney of Denton County, Texas, said prosecutors are still reviewing whether to pursue charges. So based on that information, I said, would you play him, not practice him? What would Mike do?
I need information. I need more information. I need to find out what it was. I need to find out who, like, I need more details. I gotta have more details. What happened? Is there videotape evidence of this? Is it not videotape evidence of this? Like, who is this girl? How is this? You know.
Now I would practice him. I have no problem practicing, but I'm a conservative leader in terms of, man, they don't always you're a teacher. They don't always tell you everything.
Right.
And when you find out everything, as we have done on this show last week with the Alabama video, oh man, let's go look at the video. Ooh, whoa. You can't do it, man. So I'm
Right.
going to practice you. We're going to give you all the academic support. But when it comes to putting our name on the jersey, until I know everything, out of a sheer amount of precaution,
Right.
we're going to leave him out until we know everything. But we're still going to practice. We're still going to support him. He's still going to be on the bench. We're going to support. We're going street clothes, baby, street clothes. But we still got you. So the NBA can still see the video, all of that, the training. But man, if something pop and you won't pay attention, because we don't know and Mike, you've heard my two players, Will and Follower. They was up to something that I'm still finding out stuff 20 years later. Remember that day we was almost late for the bus? You did what? So yeah.
You never know. That's the thing
Never
about
know.
it.
Because we trying to win games, man.
Yes. You focus, but that stuff is close. It's close all the time. It's close.
All right. Finally, in this segment, what are we doing, Mike? And who are we listening to? The top basketball recruits who were left scrambling after Donda Academy was shut down are beginning to find new homes. Rob Dillingham, a Kentucky commit and the number 8 recruit in the 2023 class, will join Overtime Elite, the league announced last week on Twitter. He will not accept a salary, which will preserve his college eligibility. AJ Johnson, the number 25 recruit in the 2023 class, has landed with SoCal Academy, according to Coach Jules Von Hanslick.
There's schools I never even.
His teammate, Jacob Barnaby, a 6'8" center, will join him at the SoCal Academy. Mike, why are we going to Kanye West school based on what? His academic, whatever. His mom was a teacher. God rest. So, but what does that have to do with him? Okay, you put your career in the hands of a dude with no educational background, no background in sports. He watches sports, but what are we doing, and who are we listening to? Mike, I gotta ask you, man, what are we doing? It's an education and it's hard, and people have asked me legitimately, Keith, have you ever thought about doing a school? Hell to the no. Because it's hard and you got to sustain it. And I've got to be interested for a 2, 3, 4, 5-year period. So I consult. I do virtual things. I do in-person workshops, but to run a school and to hire the kind of staff you need and to do all of the things. Yeah, no, man, that's hard. That's hard. And it's hard to help people just as we do it with the book, with this, because you're hard-headed. And then we got to do, I know people in private schools, you got to do tuition. There's so much. And now, forget the academic piece. We talk about putting a basketball team together and training and nutrition and workouts and the staff. And you said, yeah, Kanye, here, take my career, and I'm listening to you because I like your song "Jesus Walks" or whatever. That's the only Kanye song I can, and the Gold Digger song. So, can you tell me what we're doing and who we're listening to?
I don't know who we listening to. Well, I know who we listening to. The same people they've been listening to now. It's just anybody other than the coach. People want the quick fix. People want what's immediate. People want that 1-minute microwave egg. People don't want to let things out. They don't want that boiled egg, that 12 to 15 minutes, and that hard-boiled egg. They don't want that. They want that 1-minute egg in the microwave. Things don't work out that way. And you find yourself in situations that's not beneficial for you. And you open yourself up for people taking advantage of you. People use you that way instead of you using it. John Thompson said it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Never let your life amount to 8 pounds of air, right?
Yes.
People don't understand that. It's one of the smartest things you ever heard. But, use it. Don't let it use you. But you take these academies, like I ain't SoCal, whatever, and then I was looking at
Yes.
YouTube yesterday and saw Overtime Elite opening night they had where they played against. Now these teams are traveling, playing preseason games. Like last week they was in Wise, right?
And remember, you're shooting people. What's going on? You brought it up. And remember, I told you they was playing 80 games,
Yeah.
and Fowler was like, "Yeah, 80." And I said, "Fowler, oh yeah, coach, yeah, that's probably not the okay." See, players want to play, and then it's up to you to say, "No, you don't want 80 games. The league don't want 80 games.
Ain't no
Why
practice.
you want 80 games?"
And they ain't practicing at all. They just traveling and playing and collecting checks. That's what that is.
So with that, before we close out the segment, this is again, you hear the commercials. Folks, you need independent people in your life. And one of the things that we're trying to do through the CKA SAVE Project is be that independent person to say, what are you trying to do? And let's work backwards and make sure you get there. And the thing that I am most proudest of in my career is not the championships. And I'm fortunate to have won some, or being in the Hood College Hall of Fame or the Paper Branch Hall of Fame. It's 90% of the people that we've worked with have college degrees. And I just got a text from a young lady who is at Brown University right now, from the neighborhood, as we like to say, Mike. A kid from the neighborhood is at Brown on their dollar. So reach out to us. Let's have a conversation and let's develop a plan, appropriately priced, of course. None of this is free. We're done with that. But you'll invest in the cone drill guy and the workout guy, but you want to invest in the academic piece and the plan to try to get you to where you need to be, where you have a career. So with that, we're going to take a pause and we'll be right back on the
cone drill guy. I like that.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler and Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA SAVE Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 3, we actually can talk about basketball. Mike, how about that? So the NBA week ahead. So in the Eastern Conference, the top 3 as of this taping are the Bucks, the Cavs, and Boston. Any thoughts on the top 3 teams right now currently? Because we can actually talk about the more court stuff. Bucks have been kicking tail. They're undefeated at the time of this taping. They're playing well. I like the Cavs. You're not sold on the Cavs yet, and that's okay. We're 2-3 weeks in the season. Boston's good. I don't care who's coaching them. That's a good squad. So, any thoughts on those top 3?
Boston and Milwaukee will probably play for the Eastern Conference.
We're just gonna watch them all year.
Yeah.
Okay, the middle 3. The Pacers are 7th right now. The Wizards are 8. I'm going to yell at them in a moment. And the Knicks are 9. So, fans, we opened up this whole show this week talking about the debacle of the Brooklyn Nets. And last week we said, I anticipate that game on Friday, November 4th against the Wizards, That's going to be something because we anticipated foolishness. And Niece Jasmine, our NBA correspondent, was at the game. Shout out to Niece Jasmine. Can't wait for her to come over. And my God, the Wizards suffered their worst loss in the history of their organization, lost by 40, and Kevin Durant put a dude on his face, not his butt. We used to say, man, don't get crossed up, put on your butt. He crossed that Bama up, put him on his face. How you get put on your face? Now, again, that dude's getting a big check and put me on. If I'm making that kind of money, you can laugh at me if you want, but I'm going to the bank. But any thoughts about the middle three? Wizards are awful. My God, how bad can you be?
I don't know. I don't know if they awful though.
How you lose by 40 at your place?
Well,
40, not 4. He lost by 40, man. And to
that's
the
not a good one.
Nets.
That's not a good one. That's not a good loss. I agree with you. That's not a good loss. But I mean, we had like, I don't know.
That's why I sent you the clip. That boy put him on his face.
Is it still the Wizards?
Still the Wizards.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know.
Bottom three. Charlotte's 13.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit is 14, and Orlando is 15. That is the bottom in the Eastern Conference. Any thoughts on them?
Nah. They on the bottom
just
for a
bad.
reason. I expected Orlando, Charlotte. I expected both of them to be down there. So.
All right. So the Western Conference, top three. I'm going to tell you before I even tell you, I'm not expecting them to stay there. So don't give me a bunch of crap, okay? Don't give me a bunch of crap. Phoenix is number 1. Utah is number 2.
Fucking Utah.
I didn't think that would be good this year.
Go ahead.
Memphis is number 3. Phoenix and Memphis will be up there. I don't know how long Utah is going to be there. Any thoughts? But again,
Utah gonna be there all regular season.
No, they're not. They traded everybody. How are you gonna be there when you trade everybody and get rid of your coach? They're not gonna be there long.
They are the best regular season organization in history.
God bless them. All right, middle 3. Fans, I apologize for laughing early, but New Orleans is 7. And I haven't started my Zion watch yet. But Pollard and I are in the Zion camp, and Mike is not with us in terms of how many games Zion's going to play. So the Pelicans are 7, the Clippers are 8. Clippers are bad, and I don't know why they're bad. Everybody's back in playoff P, and John Wall and Kawhi might play a game or 2, and the Spurs are 9.
Play a game or 2.
I'm just going by the data.
But we've been saying that. That ain't new. Go back to our preseason when I told you about the ones that's not going to play the full season. Kyrie ain't going to be there the whole year. Ben Simmons ain't going to be there the whole year. Zion ain't going to be there the whole year. Kawhi ain't going to be there the whole year. What did I tell you?
Oh, yes. So anyway, fans, we're rooting for Zion to play at least 60 games. This is an unofficial beer bet with myself and my partner, who says he will play no more than 45 games. So anything 46 to 59 is a push. And following, shout out to you. And Will Cotton, in the group text, we're making fun of Zion every week. So anyway. The bottom 3. Golden State's 13 right now, Mike. Told you. Lakers are 14. You told me. And the Rockets are 15. They're just bad. Any thoughts about the bottom 3? Golden State, Lakers.
Golden State,
they're losing, man.
Yeah, why?
Because they ain't got no real chemistry. You can't hit that boy like that and think you ain't going to have problems. Okay? I told you, I can't be there. I can't do it. I can't throw you the ball. I can't.
We'd still be fighting.
I can't.
I'm sorry. Every time I see you, we gotta get one off. We gotta get one off every time I see you. I don't care who. No, sir.
Now again, that's just my unofficial. So anyway, fans.
It's true. It's a chemistry. It ain't the same as it was, and it shouldn't be. Quietly, there's some dudes not messing with Draymond. And then quietly there's some dudes who don't respect homeboy who got knocked out. Like it's on both sides. No, seriously.
I know. I
It's
know.
not good. And then
And James Wiseman's not playing well.
but see, and then some dudes mad at Clay. I mean, Steph, because he didn't come out and say nothing. Steph should have stepped in front of this. And being a team leader, he should have did something about it and made it public. But
Well,
we are all concerned about, and what I heard from other NBA guys watching, all these interviews, man, you need to find who had the video. Fuck the video. The video ain't the problem. The problem is what he did. Man, you can't have people in your organization snitching like that. No, what you got to do is keep your hands to yourself.
Oh man.
How about that?
All right. So I was going to do the weekly injury report, and I actually sent this link to Mike, and it's so long
No, we're good.
that I can't do this every week, man, because there's some good players that are going to be out, and that was crazy, man. So moving on, games of the week, Friday, November 11th. Cleveland's playing Golden State. I'd like to check that out and see if everything's going well with that. Saturday, November 12th, Atlanta's playing the 76ers. So Atlanta is a team that I'm not sold on because I don't know if Trey's going to play defense when the postseason hits, because he ain't playing defense now. And defense is not something that you could turn on, turn off like a light switch. It's not. It's a mindset, it's an aggressiveness. And to win championships, there's got to be some sacrifice. There's got to be a dive for the loose ball. There got to be some scabs on the arm. Got to be some scabs on the leg. And he just doesn't, I just don't see that in him.
No.
And they're going to play the 76ers, and Harden's hurt. And again, Joel Embiid is an outstandingly talented player that when the season gets to the postseason, there's just a little something I'm looking for that I just haven't seen. So we're talking about championship ball, and it's something we're going to watch all season. Mike, anything to add before we close out on some really important things in both of our lives, sir?
No, that's it.
All right, so fans, the month of November, and as we get into the fall and transition, both Mike and I, work in the nonprofit sector. And it's very challenging to assist. We are the helpers, and it's hard to help. And the helpers need support. So Mike's going to tell you about an event that he's working on with his folks, and then I'll close out and tell you about CKA's events. But Mike, can you speak about the event you're going to have at the University of Maryland football game against Ohio State coming up later on the month of November, sir?
Yes, each year during Thanksgiving week, we start our annual giving campaign for Francis Sports Academy. The Francis Sports Academy, founded by my son and I, 2015, maybe about 2014, 2015. Ever since then, what we've been doing is we work with Sarah's House, which is through Catholic Charities. It's a transitional housing project in Anne Arundel County. For those who are going through, homelessness or whatever it may be, there's a facility that these families are used, and it's for families only. So we've been doing so many things there. We've done back to school cookouts. We've done school supply drives. We've done Christmas for teens. We had a basketball game that benefited Sarah's House, donated to Sarah's House. 7 NFL players, Torrey Smith, and all those guys that came out that played in the charity event that we had at Old Mill, charity basketball game. And then each year during Thanksgiving week, because multiple sports are playing at the University of Maryland, we collect non-perishables and canned goods to deliver to Sarah's House prior to Thanksgiving.
All right. So again, fans, if you are in the area that is local to the University of Maryland, you can, if you're going to the game, bring something, or even if you're not going to the game, you can drop that off. They're outside at the different parking lots. And again, we do appreciate it. One of the things that we try to remind folks is people are struggling all year. And there's a heightened sense during the holidays, but as Mike's group has shown, we're trying to do things early to assist. On my part, the CKA SAVE Project has been in existence since 2009, and we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the Finding the Balance book project release. And it's hard to assist. It's hard to get consistent income. It's hard to fund a lot of what we do. And we have a small group of dedicated folks who really believe in us, and we appreciate them. This year, we're fortunate enough to have student interns, and the student interns have developed 2 online fundraisers that will take place from Monday, November 7th through Thursday, November 11th, just 4 days. And we are selling double good popcorn, and we're also selling pasta. And our producer, Kelly, will put the website on the screen. Our goal is to just grow our organization as we work to be a national advocate to support student athletes. So if you're able to assist us, follow us on social media at our various outlets to purchase double good popcorn as well as fun pasta. And if you're so inclined, please make a tax-deductible donation via Venmo or Cash App at CKA SAVE Project, or donate directly at our website, www.cksaveproject.org. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams with a new background saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA SAVE Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA SAVE Project, please visit them on the web at www.cksaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.